Hey everybody, welcome back for another game break. So I've done a few Kickstarters in the past, but I've never looked at them as closely as I've looked at this one. And holy shit, the numbers fluctuate like crazy. I know like during the first week, we dropped to like 50K one day. And then, I saw the explanation for that was the conversion rate because of the yen, because so many Japanese backers were backing the project. And then before I went to bed last night, I was like, oh, we're going to meet the $2,900,000 stretch goal when I wake up. It'll be awesome. We'll get the new stretch character. And then it dropped another 30K. And I was just like, ugh. So no, definitely there is a little bit of excitement going on in terms of just keeping watch on the numbers. But anyway, so today I'm going to cover everything we've learned since last Wednesday. So that's 4 new characters, a bunch of new information covering the guild system, rune lenses, amongst other things. And then there was a Discord chat with Murayama that I did sit in. So I was able to collect some information from that, which I'll go over and talk about. And then, we'll have a bit of a discussion and give you my thoughts per usual. So we'll get started. Okay, so first off, let's talk about Hilda. Honestly, Hilda so far is one of my favorite characters. Not only does she look like Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist, but she also reminds me a little bit of my wife before we started dating. She very much has a similar hairstyle to what she had before we first met, or when we first met. So no, I just love her aesthetic. I love the military woman in uniform look. And no, she's definitely up there with one of my favorites. And I'm actually shocked she didn't do better in the character poll that was conducted. But I'll go over the results of that as well. I found them quite funny. But no, loving Hilda's look so far. I love the fact that she's a bit of a neat freak too. And I'm almost wondering in battle if she'll be just like maybe just like sending to like cleaning her blade or something, before she sheds your blood with it. So no, I'm really looking forward to Hilda. I would have been really upset if she wasn't a playable character, because I just really like her aesthetic. So no, really liking what Kawano's doing with her so far. Then the next character we got here is Maxim. He's very much what I imagine he would look like. He looks like the young, naive idealist. And I feel like he's going to get himself into a lot of hilarious situations, especially if he meets some less than ideal characters that we recruit, which he definitely will. And he seems like he's probably a guy that's easy to tease too. So no, very much in line with what I thought he would look like. So no, looking good so far. So the next character we got here is Mellor, the magical girl. Honestly, for a magical girl, I was really worried about what she would look like, but honestly, she's not too bad. You know what she actually reminds me of? In Fire Emblem Echoes, there is a child mage character named Delthea as well, and they look very similar. And Delthea was one of the most powerful characters in that game, so I'm honestly wondering if Mellor will be one of the most powerful characters in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if she had like 3 open rune slots and outrageous stats. That'd be quite funny. I could see that definitely happening. Nope, like totally cool. Don't mind her. So Rhodey, when I heard this character was a clockmaker, essentially, I wasn't super excited for him. I was just like, oh, this guy's just totally going to be like, a typical merchant character or whatever. And that very much is in line with what he looks like. He actually kind of reminds me of Apple a little bit, just because he's got that little tuft of hair poking out from up top. But no, like totally okay character. Seems like a standard merchant character. And apparently he is a bit of a brat, according to the description. So, looking forward to seeing more of him. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if we get more characters too revealed. It's funny. People are throwing out I hope we make it to 108 characters in the comments and stuff. And the moderator's like, there we go with that number again. And just they're being so goddamn coy about, the 108 Stars of Destiny and this being related to Suikoden sometimes. It's pretty funny. So one thing that I really did find interesting was the description they gave about rune lenses, and not only in terms of how they work in combat, but how they fit into the world at large. And very much, they can take many different forms. They're literally not just runes on your hands or your forehead. In Suikoden, we only had the Night Rune, the Star Dragon sword, which took a different form. But in this, they can be obviously runes affixed to your person. They can be accessories. They can be weapons, like swords, axes, whatever, probably. And then obviously we got mentioned here that the Goldean Empire has formed an especially powerful type of rune lenses in the form of rings. So no, and I really like that variety because they can come all in different shapes and forms. And they can do a lot of fun things with it. I particularly like the fact that they mentioned runes can be, inherited from families, passed down through, the generations. People can be born with them. They definitely have like religious implications. They're divine gifts. And, there's a lot of interesting story things they could do with that. There could be a civil war because, maybe the unworthy prince inherits the rune instead of the crown prince. And that could create a whole issue. Or you could have like, maybe a religious crusade of some kind because, a couple of people, a guy gets, a particularly powerful rune and he just goes crazy. Oh, there's so many cool things they could do with the whole rune lens thing in this world. So I'm looking forward to it. And then they mentioned that there are, obviously unique runes and all that. And just like, the original Suikoden, it says here, you can give your characters new magics and skills, depending on their physical abilities. Each hero's lens is unique and supports runes of different type, rarity, and quantity. So, it sounds like we're going to have a lot of variety in terms of what these characters can actually do in battle because of the rune lens system. And there's definitely going to be unique runes for very specific characters and stuff like that. So, no, very much Alice Suikoden. Really looking forward to seeing what they do. And speaking of number fluctuations, I'm loving Mondays right now because that seems to be when they announce and release new premium rewards. And there always seems to be just a massive influx of funds on those days because people essentially want to be in the game in some capacity. So no, I'm really liking the way that they're introducing premium rewards at this point, kind of trickling them out so they're not all gone the first day, and it's something exciting to look forward to that, if you miss out on one premium reward, other people might be able to snatch up another one. So I think it's probably a decent strategy so far. It seems to be working quite well for them, and it definitely gets some more buzz about the game, right? And they also detailed the guild system a little bit more. And it's sounding like a nice addition to the game because in the other Suikoden games, obviously, you had all these characters essentially just sitting in your fortress, not doing anything. And it sounds like you can actually make use of all your characters now. You can send them on missions. Some will be better at certain missions than others. You can get materials. Maybe there'll be unique rewards depending on who you send. And no, I'm just really liking the fact that recruiting all 108 characters will mean more than just maybe having, the secret ending in the game or having the biggest fortress. No, I like the fact that we're actually going to get a lot more use out of our characters. So it just makes it more, not that you needed more of a reason to collect all 108 characters. Cause it's just awesome collecting everybody, but it's nice to see that they will have some use. And I can't help but laugh at the character poll here, just the differences between the English one and the Japanese one. Like with the Japanese one, you pretty much got all the pretty boys in it. So I think that's pretty funny, very telling of where the Japanese mind is at in terms of aesthetics for characters. And then you look at the English one, and we only have Marissa as the only human character, and then it's all beastmen. So I think that will encourage them to release more Beastmen characters in the future of wildly different varieties, and they're going to anyway. But no, I just found that funny that it's just there is such obviously a difference in terms of what people like when it comes to culture. And I gotta say, with all the sweet add-ons you can add for this Kickstarter, I'm definitely going to be upping my pledge because they announced there will be like a steel book, for example. That you can get onto your pledge, and I'll definitely be doing that for sure. And I'm very curious to see what other add-ons stuff they'll announce in the future. I've already pledged enough, I feel, but I'm definitely going to be forking over at least another $40 or so here. But no, definitely liking what they're doing in terms of the add-ons for people. The more the better. People love, collectibles and stuff like that, especially for a game like this. And they even give a massive shout out to the Suikoden revival movement. Oh man, I remember back in the day, I would visit their Facebook page quite a bit. But as the years dragged on and there was no news, I kind of stopped visiting their Facebook page. So no, I'm glad to see that they got a shout out, and very much that, they've had an active role in, chugging along the hype train for this project. So no, Suikoden revival movement. Thanks a lot, guys. If you ever see this, really appreciate your hard work. So an interesting thing that happened the other week was there was the Discord chat with Murayama taking place. And, I sat in on it, was able to ask a question, but there was definitely a lot of other questions asked, and there was definitely some new information that was released that I didn't know about. So the first one that I saw, someone essentially was asking, I didn't see the question, but I saw the answer, and they were asking about true rune lenses, essentially. And they were asking if there was going to be 27 of them. And the moderator said, no, there won't be 27 necessarily, but there will be several. So does that mean we're going to have immortals walking around? A la Suikoden? Are there going to be runes of that power that essentially grant immortality? So that's another interesting question. I always did like that aspect about the Suikoden series, because we could jump, 100 years, 1,000 years in the future, and we could still potentially see Tur McDole. Or look at Suikoden 4. It's like, 150 years in the past, and we meet Ted when he has the Death Eater rune. So no, I definitely like the potential of that. But I am hoping that when these games do have sequels and stuff, that they do keep it a bit tighter in terms of timeline. The one thing about Suikoden 4 being so far in the past, it's like, the chance for character cameos are greatly reduced. Like even Suikoden 3 being 15 years in the future, there were still quite a few cameos. So no, very interesting comments to see. Don't know exactly what it means yet, but hey, sounds pretty cool. And then another thing that people have been asking about in the comments is, they've been asking about romance in the game, if there'll be romance options and stuff like that. And I mean, it makes sense to ask that because you have so many characters. I think Noah's going to be a bit more than a blank slate this time, like all the other Suikoden heroes were, because we've seen he has dialogue, unless that's just chosen dialogue. I don't know. But it seems like he might have a bit more to say this time around. No, I get the desire for romance, but, at the same time, that's not what the Suikoden series was about. But granted, this isn't Suikoden, it's Eiyuden. But, Murayama replied saying that, he always does throw a little bit of romance in his games. At least in Suikoden 1 through 3 he did. There are always like little crushes going on. Kasumi really liked Tyr, and, Ryu had a few girls that had a crush on him, and Hugo did too from Suikoden 3. And I always found those really endearing. They just added a little bit of flavor to the game. They were never the core focus, because I think a big part of what all of us like about Suikoden, hopefully Eiyuden, is just the politics that are going on, and just, the conflict between nations and war, right? So that's always been the focus, and I'm glad he's very much keeping the focus there. If he does add a romance option, I feel like it won't be a big thing. Like it'll just be like, a tiny thing that they add to the game. It's not going to take over the narrative. So yeah, we'll see. But I've always liked how he handled romance in the past. So, hopefully he'll continue doing that. And he also mentioned that he's more fond of the parent-child relationship than he is in romantic relationships. So, maybe we'll see more of that. Okay, so this one definitely made me go, holy fuck. So on the Kickstarter page, we see that there's 2 unannounced DLCs, to be revealed via completed stretch goals. And I honestly totally forgot about them. But no, he revealed in the Discord chat that these DLCs have the potential to be up to be 10 hours long and are, essentially, if they're 10 hours long, they have to be story driven. And oh, fuck, that has me really excited. And I'm really worried at the same time, because it's just like, I don't know if we'll meet those stretch goals. I hope we do. I think there's a lot of funding left to be had in the last few days, particularly. But no, imagine the original Suikoden series if we had DLC like that. If we were in Suikoden 3 in the grasslands, we could go to maybe like the Free Night Hold of Camaro to the north and have an adventure there. Or in Suikoden 4, we're in the Island Federation there. And, we never got to go to Gaian, the big island in the west of the archipelago. So no, there's definitely a lot of potential to be had here, because I'm sure we'll hear about, countries that maybe aren't super involved in the main conflict of Eiyuden Chronicle, and we could maybe potentially go there and have an adventure and learn more about that culture and meet new characters or whatever. Oh shit, the potential for that is just awesome. And another thing that Murayama confirmed is there will be no new game plus restricted characters. You can get all of your characters in your first playthrough of the game, which is awesome, and which is the way it should be. Because I don't want to have to like unlock a secret character or anything like that. I want to be able to get everyone in the first go. I mean, that's not to say I would only play the game once. I'll probably play it more than once because I played every Suikoden more than once. So, but no, it's nice to know that we can get them all, right out of the gate. And then he does make a comment about, someone asked, oh, how does it feel to, own the IP right out of the gate, when developing the game? And it's like, it's not really a big deal so far. It's pretty much the same as working, with a big developer. But he's like, but if we want a sequel, we won't have to wait 10 years to make it for you. And I was just like, oh, shots fired, guys. So no, I thought that was a pretty funny comment. Someone also asked if we'll get a narcissistic type characters, a la, the original Suikoden series. And he pretty much confirmed, like, yes, there are going to be some people that are going to be narcissistic that you can join, and they'll be very distinct by their clothing style. So, nice little tidbit there for us fans, right? And he did drop a bit of a lore bite as well, in terms of the Sharkmen Beastmen. And essentially it's plug your ears for 5 seconds if you don't want to hear it. It's that they live in the desert. And so essentially they're a desert tribe, and they hear stories how they used to live in or come from the ocean, and they don't believe it. I think that's pretty fucking cute that we got a beastman tribe of sharks that live in the desert and don't believe they came from the ocean. I think that's pretty clever. So, yeah. And then another question that was asked is, are there any unrevealed races for this game? And that has been confirmed. Yes, there are several races that have not been revealed as of yet. And they made a comment too that, they're handsome or good looking characters like the Sharkman that's been introduced. So I have a feeling that we're going to get some Beastmen tribes, and they're going to be looking pretty wild. So, that's pretty cool to know that that's coming down the pipeline. Quickly, we'll go over, the stretch goals here and, cover what we've achieved since last Wednesday and what's in the future. So we achieved Words with Friends, Party Conversations, covered that quite a bit last time. Awesome addition. We did get the Pretty Soldier Mellor. We also got background checks, so that was a secret stretch goal. Apparently it was highly requested, and honestly, I'm really happy about this because I always remember Suikoden 2 reading about George Prime's background, and because of that, he became one of my favorite characters. He was, an Ebony Moon Knight from Camaro. He was, one of the 6 mighty generals from the Scarlet Moon Empire. He was a Queen's Knight in Felena, and then it mentioned the Queen died there and he fled. So I'm just like, oh, what the hell is this shit all about with this dude? And then obviously we got Suikoden 5 and we got way more screen time with him, and he just became even more of a favorite with me. So, I'm interested definitely in the background checks. They always add that, that lore flavor, or those lore bits that I always enjoy. Economy of scale, trading mini game, has been added, kind of talked about that a bit last time. So the next goal we have to meet is Clock Watcher Rhodey joins. We will meet that today. Yeah, I mean, we're less than 9,000 shy of that goal. We should have met it already, but we dropped 30K the other night. So no, I'm looking forward to seeing, that goal achieved. Western linguistics, Brazilian and Portuguese. Hey, shout out to the Brazilian fans out there, man. I didn't know there was a large, Suikoden fandom in Brazil. Happy to have you. So I mean, you guys you'll get that goal for sure, without question. Okay, so 2.95 million, and they're off that. I can't think of anything else but a racing mini game. It has to be, because Suikoden 3 had one, so maybe it's something similar, or maybe it'll just be, dog races or horse races and you bet on them or something like that, right? So, I don't know. So the 2.975 million, mo money, mo problems. I've thought about this one quite a bit, and I'm honestly not sure what it is. If you guys have any theories on what it could be, definitely let me know. Because I very much would love to know what your thoughts are for that stretch goal. So maybe it's allusion to the fact that they've made so much money that they're gonna create other problems for us in the game to solve because of the stretch goals. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So I'm looking forward to. And the other thing too is the increments between stretch goals here has gotten smaller, like significantly smaller, because it was at least 50K and now it's down to 25. So I'm just like, was this planned or have they gotten, publisher funding now? Have they solidified a deal with a publisher so they can, offer these goals at a bit, cheaper rate? I don't know, but that is something I did notice. Let me know if you do have any thoughts about it. So, I mean, I'm hoping it means that they do have a publisher, and, they can, shorten the distance between stretch goals going forward. But yeah, so I mean, that's it at the moment. No, you know, once again, it's going to be, when this Kickstarter's over, it's just going to be like, oh man, I don't have anything to look forward to, you know, waking up or checking on a regular basis. I think, you know, I have the app on my phone where it checks, you know, how much time I've been on it. I'm pretty sure it's gone up at least 33%, just the amount of time I've been checking this bad boy. But no, you know, happy with the goals we met, looking forward to seeing more revealed in the future, you know, and definitely with these shorter increments between stretch goals, we'll definitely be revealing them, you know, much quicker, I would say. So thanks for joining me for another Game Break, guys. You know, continue to stay safe out there, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another Eiyuden Chronicle update. Take it easy.